Hi there, Nicholas Campion here with the next instalment of the First Formations video series. Today we're going to be looking at company resolutions, focusing particularly on what are company resolutions, what are the different types, how are resolutions passed, how are they filed, and what happens next. So the majority of routine day-to-day decisions in private companies are made by the directors, but significant matters that go beyond the scope of the directors' powers must be addressed by the company's shareholders. These types of shareholder decisions require company resolutions. To pass a company resolution, shareholders need to cast their votes for or against a proposed course of action. This can be either done at a general meeting or in writing with what's called a written resolution. An ordinary resolution is passed when more than 50% of the votes are cast in favour of the resolution, and it's used by shareholders to make a decision where the directors have no authority. Typically, these types of decisions include paying dividends, appointing or removing directors, approving director service contracts, and approving directors' loans. Next, there are special resolutions. A special resolution is required for exceptional or sensitive matters. The Companies Act and the Articles of Association will outline which decisions require this type of resolution. A special resolution can only be passed when at least 75% of the shares are voted in favour of the resolution. This type of resolution is most commonly used to alter the Articles of Association, change a company name, restructure a company, waive right to preemption on an issuance, reduce share capital, or even wind up a company. Shareholders can stipulate the need for a special resolution for other decisions, but this must be clearly stated within the articles themselves. So, what is a written resolution? A written resolution is a resolution which can either be an ordinary or special that's passed in writing as opposed to at a general meeting with people voting in person or via proxy. Written company resolutions can be proposed by a director or shareholders owning at least 5% of the voting rights. All decisions in the private company can be dealt with using the written resolution procedure with the exception of a removal of a director or auditor. However, public companies aren't allowed to use this procedure whatsoever. Now, about the notice. The notice period of a proposed ordinary or special resolution at a general meeting is 14 days. But where a resolution is proposed to remove a company director or auditor, a special 28 days notice is required. The director or auditor in question needs to be informed and a special procedure must be followed. In addition to the time and date and location of the general meeting, the notice must state the intention of the proposed resolution as well as its actual content. Now, the procedure for a written resolution is slightly different. Each member needs to be given a copy of the resolution in paper or electronic form. This should be accompanied by a statement which outlines the way in which the members must indicate their agreement, as well as the deadline for passing the resolution. Generally, the notice period of a written resolution is 28 days from the time that the members receive the copy. So how do we pass company resolutions? Passing resolutions can be done either by a poll or a show of hands at a general meeting or through the written resolution procedure. If the required majority of votes is achieved, the resolution is passed, and this means the decision is legally binding. Copies of special resolutions must be delivered to Companies House within 15 days of it being approved. Any registered company details or documents that are altered as a result of the resolution should also be sent to Companies House. Now, to determine whether the required majority of votes has been achieved, the number of voting shares must be counted, not the number of members who vote. Most shares will carry one vote each, but shareholders can own varying quantities of shares. And indeed, in some companies, there may be multiple classes of shares, each carrying more than one vote each. Furthermore, if the resolution is voted on in a general meeting, then the number of votes for is taken as a percentage of the total voting rights in attendance, instead of the total voting rights in the company. For example, if you've got a company of 4 equal shareholders and one shareholder doesn't attend the meeting, to pass an ordinary resolution requires 2 of the shareholders to vote in favour. That's because they represent a majority, greater than 50%, of the voting rights in attendance. But if the resolution is voted on using the written resolution procedure, it would require 3 shareholders to approve it, as they represent greater than 50% threshold. If the required majority of votes is obtained, the resolution is passed. If the required majority of votes is not obtained, then the resolution is rejected. So how do you record company decisions? Company decisions have got to be recorded by taking minutes of all general meetings and decisions. Copies of minutes and company resolutions must be kept at the registered office or sale address for at least 10 years and made available for inspection. Statutory company records and registers should also be updated accordingly where required. When you make changes to your company, you'll usually need to tell Companies House. Special resolutions need to be delivered to Companies House within 15 days of them being passed. It is not possible to deliver these documents by electronic means. Ordinary resolutions don't generally need to be delivered to Companies House, and you should simply store them in your company records as standard. You've got to keep copies of your company resolutions for a minimum of 10 years from the date they're passed, as well as any minutes of the meetings. These records should be stored at your registered office or sale address, where they should be available for inspection on request. And that's it. So today we've looked at the different types of company resolutions there are, how they're passed, and what happens next. But if you've got any other questions or comments about company resolutions or other company services, please get in touch by leaving a comment. We're always happy to help, and we can't wait to hear from you. That's all from us for now. If you'd like to receive more updates just like this, like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Cheerio.